I am king under the mountain. My wings are like a hurricane. Feel the heat of my breath. I am fire, I am dead. I am smile. Titan of the skies, you will fear me. Cower as my wings eclipse the sun. Sovereign of the fire, down on your knees. You must know you can't run. I am smile.
Isel means moon. Nen means water. An, rock. Eel, daughter of. Isel Neniel is my real name, but over time I've become known as Tia Marithiel. Daughter of pain and blood. Line pure. I've seen so many wars. I was there when Morgoth's armies were sacked, my home of Gondolin. I was the last of the house of the king born of the moon. The folk of this house were under the personal command of King Turgon of Gondolin. I still dress in that white and gold and red in honor of my King Turgon, and carry the emblem combined of the moon, the sun, and the scarlet heart. My king ordered us to follow his son, but our house refused, and fought to stand by his side. I too tried to stand by my king, but he ordered me to go so that at least one of his house, besides his son, would live and tell the fall of Gondolin, and how the king fought to the end. I traveled far to settle in Eregion, in Sarascalebrin, and was there when Sauron burned it to the ground. Yet another home lost, and I found myself in Lothlorien. But when the battle call sounded, I, like many others, answered to make Sauron pay. I had entered the war in the Second Age, and fought hard against the armies of the Nazgul and Sauron himself. But it was for naught, as I faced the Witch King alone, and was stabbed and defeated. Into the shadows I fell, for 1,000 years had passed since that day, and I had awoken another time, in the house of Elrond in Imladri. I was set to leave Middle-earth, but I chose to stay. I will not rest. I cannot rest while things are such in danger, and an evil stirs and awakens, one that I cannot muster the strength to leave. So I knew it was decided that I would stay and fight another war so that others may have a home. Gondolin had 12 houses. Tia Marithiel was from the house of the king. The symbol, moon, sun, and scarlet heart. However, another came from Gondolin, and was from the house of the wing, a white wing, as its symbol, and that is Enchantia, the mariner. Now, before she was a mariner, she was a skilled hunter, just like almost everyone in Gondolin was a hunter, skilled in archery. The best archers in all of Middle-earth came from Gondolin at some point. Learned, trained, fought, but it was all for naught. When the war was taking a turn for the worst, Enchantia and a few others managed to escape. They did not stop running, but Enchantia's heart belonged to the sea. Instead of following the others to Sarascalebrin, or Osirine, or even to Maladre, Enchantia's heart burned for the sea, and thus she became a mariner. One of the most skilled fighting assassins to the day. Enchantia spends a lot of her time, when not traveling, fighting the forces of evil, on a ship, and that she has learned to captain herself. Enchantia spends many times and many fights to be there, and when the War of the Ring came, she came to Aragon's aid and provided one of the ships that they needed in Belfalas. One of the last elves to be set in sail from Eldon. Cimmerian. The name in Elvish Sim means to heed, mer, want, ia ever, and ne that. Simply put, it means to want nothing more while heeding that which we crave. Simply put, seeking knowledge with caution. Every brawler knows that a fight is not simply fought with the fists, but requires knowledge as well. That is how Cimmerian decided to thrive and make his way from Gondolin as another sole survivor. Even to Ceres Celebrin, he fought his way, fought amongst the dwarves, and made friends with the dwarves in the mountains of Khazad-dûm. One of the few that could actually say they were friends with dwarves. But also came from Gondolin. He is now making his way, his prowess to save Middle-earth from the forces of evil. Name, Nindos Philafton. Race, High Elf. Class, Hunter. Philafton was an elf of Nagathrin. He well remembers the days of Beleriand. The light from his memories is what keeps him still lingering in Middle-earth. Taking the journey into the west had long been in his heart, yet not before he sees the shadow lifted from Arda. He will not leave his beloved mountains and forests behind to their fate. He is very stubborn and will fight with the inner drive of Noldor until the very end. Philafton's skill is beyond mortal perception. He has been very much used to wielding his bow. Philafton is known to the rangers. He resides in Salandam only when the shadows of his past memories haunt his dreams and cloud his visions. Usually he wanders around in Evendim, and sometimes through Brelands tracing orcs. Delrin is a man from the Breland area. He is the town guard of Coombe. He very early was suspicious of the increased brigand activity and surmised that the brigands were up to something. Delrin found it strange that so many brigand groups were operating in a relatively small area and suspected that they were working together, thus posing a major threat to the region's peace. But he had no real evidence to convince his superior, the sheriff. All of the brigand activities were blamed on hard times that forced good people to evil acts, so Delrin sought to find enough evidence to prove his theory or lay it to rest. While following up on a lead trying to ambush a small raiding party of brigands, he was captured and imprisoned. He found out that indeed his fears had come true. All the lowlife thugs and raiders were now forming a major army of brigands, called the Blackwoods. Freed by 2 Dunedain rangers, Delrin was working alongside them to foil the Blackwoods' plan to capture Archid. Though this did not go down without heavy losses. Emdir, one of the rangers, was lost, and by some foul magic had joined the other side, compelled by a strange figure in a black and hooded cloak. Now Delrin wants to go back to see if his village, Coombe, has suffered a similar fate as Archid, though he won't leave before he helped the honest folks of Archid to gain the first steps in rebuilding their lives. Nord was born and raised by the lake of Nen Harn, north of Chetwood. His father was a forester, while his mom helped by fishing and sewing clothes. His father spoke about the forces of nature and how it is connected to us. His mother told him that Grandpa was so in touch with nature that he used to cry while filleting fish. One day when Nord turned 21, he and his father traveled to Bree to trade furs for tools. His dad had ordered a very nice fishing pole for him. Upon returning home, he was eager to fish. He catches a big salmon, laughing loud and proud, but when he turns around, he sees smoke coming from the cabin. Running turns towards the smoke, he sees his mom on the ground. A bandit is standing above her. Cold and swift, the bandit sticks his blade in her stomach. Nord roars, running towards her, armed with nothing but a fishing pole. 5 bandits take turns attacking him. That's when he sees his father sitting above him in a tree. His father jumps down, slamming his wood-chopping axe right into a shoulder, and he manages to take out 2 more before getting his leg chopped off by 2-handed sword. Now there's just 2 bandits left against Nord. He slashes his fishing pole until it breaks, and manages to stab one of them with the broken pole before getting knocked out by a club. When he wakes, his mom has passed away. His father has crawled over to her, crying while hugging her. His father has used his leather belt around the stump of his leg, but it was too late. He turns Nord and says, "Now it's your turn. You, my son. You must carve your own path in nature. Don't let hatred guide your way." After burying them, eyes filled with tears, he gathers 2 broken pieces of the fishing pole. He walks into the forest, wounded and emotionally broken, and stumbles over a branch and falls face first down a slope in the mud right into a fallen tree and passes out. Something wakes him up. It's a raven. When he finally gets up on his leg, it seems as if he wants him to follow. Now on a weird spiritual journey, following a raven, Nord leaves. Name, Panperidata. Race, Hobbit. Class, Minstrel. Named after the green jewel Peridot, the singing cook, with the love for cookies, are determined to go out on an adventure after having heard to old but fashioning tales of Old Man Baggins. That she isn't the smarter of her kind don't help. That she don't realize that she isn't so smart isn't helping either. It is always possible to make her change her mind with a cookie. At her mother's orders, she always has cookies in her backpack, or tries to always have it. That they, more often than not, end up in her stomach instead is another story altogether. She prefers the lute if she wants to sing, otherwise it's a violin. But in cold weather that destroys the strings, she uses a cowbell, borrowed from a neighbor. If she wasn't a minstrel, she'd be a burglar. A traveling merchant from Brie managed to sell her a very mechanized mace that she loves to use because it makes her look like a cool adventurer. That it probably took the merchant 10 minutes to make that mace from a stick and 2 big nails is another story in itself. If that battle starts with while she's cooking, she most likely forgets about her very menacing mace, and just attacks with her cooking stuff instead. Legastair is a bear standing at the entrance to Archit, having arrived from his family home, wondering why Radagast thought he would be the best bear to send to Aragon. Legastair thought his elder brother would have been the better choice, or even his sister. Legastair is a patient bear and will wait until others can join him, as he does not want to talk to anyone in the town until then. So just some honorable mentions, as we don't have backstories for some of these characters. But we do have, with us, Marmawise. He is from Harad. His character is an evil man, but is also a mariner class. The second mention that we have is Sylvanlore, who's playing a burglar hobbit from Falahide, and his name's Sylvanburg. We don't have a backstory on that one yet, but I know they're working on it. Trying to see if there's anyone else we missed for backstories. And I think we got everyone. So, we have a stout axe. We do have a stout axe from Mordor. That one is, doesn't have a story yet, but is a hunter. We have Vidranis, who's going to be playing a dwarf from Doran's Hall as a champion. So, and then at this point, those are the only ones we're missing. So, everyone else has kind of got their backstory in, and that is it.